Brazilian entrepreneur Eike Batista was one of the world's richest men. His multi-billion-dollar empire grew fast. It included oil, mining, power, and shipping. But his oil firm filed for bankruptcy protection on Wednesday. It is one of the biggest defaults in history. Anthony Mason has joined us. Good morning.
Good morning, Charlie and Nora. Just a few years ago, Eike Batista was the embodiment of Brazil's then booming economy. Forbes estimated his worth at $30 billion, and Batista said his fortune was going to get bigger, much bigger.
What do you think your net worth could become in the next 10 years?
100 billion.
You think so?
Yes.
$100 billion.
Yes.
With Charlie Rose in 2010, Batista boldly predicted he was going to be the richest man in the world.
This is quite a view.
Yes, incredible, huh?
When 60 Minutes visited his palatial home in Rio de Janeiro that same year, Batista was just as brash about the future of his country.
You know, in the last 16 years, Brazil has put its act together. This is it. Hello, time for Americans to wake up.
Now his investors are waking up to a nightmare. Batista's business is collapsing and his fortune is gone.
How do you lose $30 billion in a year?
Yeah, a few different ways. So he borrowed a ton of money and he was over leveraged. So when things started to go down, his fortune unwound and he had to pay back his creditors.
Peter Latman has covered Batista's epic fall for the New York Times.
If he's nothing else, Eike Batista was the consummate salesman. I mean, in some ways, he sort of reminds you of a Donald Trump. He put his name on everything.
He named his conglomerate EBX, the X standing for multiplication of wealth. And the 56-year-old entrepreneur likes to show it off. He's owned a 177-foot yacht, raced speedboats, and married and divorced a Playboy centerfold. In 2007, as Brazil was getting ready to tap into massive discoveries of oil off its coast, Batista started an oil exploration and production company.
This oil story is a $1 trillion story right in front of us here.
He paid more than $1 billion to buy offshore leases from the government, giving his company the right to drill for oil.
As of today, we have had 100% success.
100%?
Yes, every well was a hit.
Every well of...
Oh, no, that we drilled since August last year was a hit. We found massive oil reserves already. 100% hit ratio.
No one really questioned him. Everyone thought, well, this is Brazil, the hottest economy in the world next to China, and Batista's the symbol of it. But it proved to be a lot of thin air.
Much of the oil turned out to be unrecoverable, too difficult or expensive to pull out of the ground. Some fields had to be abandoned. Then, as Batista's cash was running out, the Brazilian economy began to cool.
The currency plummeted, the stock market plummeted, and that's what Batista's fortunes were really tied to.
Only last year, Batista ranked 8th on Bloomberg's index of world billionaires. He's now fallen off the list.
What does he have left at this point?
Well, I think he has a lot of debts left to creditors. Stay tuned, but it doesn't look like there's going to be a very, happy ending to the story.
When Batista's oil company filed for bankruptcy Wednesday, it listed $5 billion in debts.
It's a remarkable story, isn't it?
It's a pretty scary story.
I went to Brazil. I was in Sao Paulo, and so we came over there, and some friends of mine knew him, and I'd interviewed him. So he invited us to spend the weekend there. And he has a Mercedes in his living room.
His living room, right? Yeah, $500,000 Mercedes, right? I think.
Exactly. And you walk outside, and you look up, and there's the cross, and it's a spectacular view of Brazil. So he has fallen a very long distance.
Yeah.
Was it because he was more of a showman?
No, I mean, I think he was betting in the right places. He just borrowed extensively and made a lot of promises that in the end they couldn't deliver on. This oil, which everyone thought was going to be easy to get, proved tougher, and he borrowed a lot of money to get it.
And there may be oil there, but he couldn't get it out at a reasonable price.
And his fortune now is estimated to be south of $500 million, which sounds like a lot, but when you've got investors coming after you, possible lawsuits and everything, that could be gone quickly too.
Quite a fall. Anthony, thank you.